Chapter 56 to 57. As Minato Namikaze's fingertips touched the tip of the kunai, he squeezed himself out of the space-time gap. His reflexes far surpassed those of ordinary people. In an instant, he surveyed everything around him. Felled trees, ground torn apart as if by a giant dragon, corpses ground into fragments, 7 corpses of Kumo shinobi stacked like a pile of bodies. And atop the pile of corpses sat Yuto, eyes closed, resting. The 13-year-old boy's long hair flowed down to his waist, tied at the end with a red ribbon. He stood tall and graceful. His right arm was wrapped in a black bandage, and his serene, gentle demeanor added a touch of mystery. "Yuto-kun," Minato called out abruptly. "Are you hurt?" "No," Yuto replied, opening his eyes with a light smile. "This level of ambush isn't enough to injure me. Commander, you should help the others first." "All right, be careful. The main force will arrive in 10 minutes. With a flash of golden light, Minato disappeared. As a top-tier skilled shinobi in the Flying Thunder God technique, his support speed was unrivaled in the shinobi world. He was everywhere on the battlefield. Yuto jumped off the pile of corpses, his expression calm. Overpowering his opponents with speed made victory simple. Although Kumo shinobi's taijutsu was among the top in the 5 great nations, they were still slow like lambs to the slaughter in the face of the lion's fang bite. 10 minutes later, the advance team arrived. Designated record officers evaluated the battle achievements, handled the Kumo shinobi corpses, and filed the encounter. Afterwards, Yuto advanced with the main force, setting up camp in the dense forest near the border of the land of hot water. Time flew by as scouts sent out to explore the terrain returned one by one. Unlike Yuto, some were bloodied and barely clinging to life, carried back by Minato, who then handed them to the medical unit for immediate treatment. After crossing the Fire Country's border, the advance team set up camp, deciding to rest for the night to alleviate the exhaustion of the march. As night fell, the advance camp buzzed with activity. Light-hearted conversations filled the air, and the aroma of roasting meat wafted through. In a world with extraordinary powers like the shinobi world, night raids on enemy camps were exceedingly difficult. For example, the camp's perimeter was guarded by Hyuga clan Chunin at critical points. Their Byakugan's reconnaissance abilities surpassed thermal imaging cameras. Aburami clan members had scattered insects hidden in the soil, making underground attacks nearly impossible. High-mobility shinobi patrolled in shifts, missing no corner. Sensitive traps were even set on various plants and rocks. If Kumo dared to attack at night, they would suffer heavy losses. Moreover, the war had just begun. The shinobi's nerves were not fully tense, and it was human nature to relax a bit in a relatively safe camp. However, only ordinary shinobi could afford to relax. The advance team's commander could not. In the central military tent of the camp, Minato gathered all the jonins around a map. "In 3 days, we need to advance to this point and establish a defensive line at the border between the land of hot water and the land of frost. We must intercept Kumo's attacks entirely within the land of hot water." Keeping the battle far from one's homeland was a principle every war strategist understood, applicable in any world. Minato, usually cheerful and gentle, issued a strict order. 3 days. No matter what we encounter, we must push through. No one is to retreat without my command. Strangely, despite Minato's stern tone, his subordinates did not feel rebellious. Instead, they unconsciously straightened up. "I will leave 50 people to guard the advance team and the rear supply route. The code will change every half day, and we must defend it at all costs. All remaining Konoha shinobi will join me in establishing a defensive line at the hot water and frost border. Kumo is strong. We may not encounter large forces, but there will be many skirmishes and ambushes. Including myself, everyone could die. I only hope everyone upholds the will of fire and exterminates all enemies." The handsome young man with golden hair paused and began assigning tasks. The main force will be divided into 6 groups, each led by 2 jonin. The first group, Genji Hyuga and Eitaro Kuni, the second group. The rear guard will form 15 smaller groups. Finally, Kumo often employs single-point breakthrough tactics. I will select a few powerful shinobi for free action, allowing them to operate in the land of hot water, or further to eliminate enemy small groups. Yuto Hyuga, Minoru Uchiha, Yuki Aburame. Minato listed several names. Standing against the wall, Yuto nodded slightly, accepting the order gladly. Due to the ongoing war, the meeting did not last long. When Minato dismissed the jonin, Yuto's bird roasting on the fire was still not fully cooked. He sprinkled a pinch of salt on the meat, and once the aroma wafted up, ate it with some water. In 3 days, the advance team would reach the border between the lands of hot water and frost. Yuto thought quietly, calculating the time and distance. Given Kumo's nature, there would certainly be a big battle in 3 days. Both sides had elite vanguards. The outcome was uncertain, but there would be casualties, with neither side emerging unscathed. Swallowing the last bite of bird meat, Yuto chewed slowly before standing up and walking into the darkness alone. He did not alert anyone. As a designated free-action shinobi, his strategic value lay in unpredictability. Ideally, even Minato would not know his whereabouts. In this world where individual prowess could influence the outcome of wars, shinobis acting freely had significant tactical value. Each time they returned with intelligence or enemy heads, their war achievements would soar. Yuto disappeared into the darkness, carrying the token Minato gave him before the meeting, and quickly left the advance team's reconnaissance range. He ran deeper into the land of hot water, keeping his Byakugan activated, resting only when exhausted. For a free-acting freelancer like Yuto, the biggest challenge was locating the enemy. The land of hot water, bordering the fire country, was under Konoha's influence. In the early stages of the war, it was indeed difficult for Kumo to send large forces there. However, Yuto had his own way of finding the enemy. If they weren't in the land of hot water, he would go to the land of frost, heading straight to the land of lightning's border. He would eventually encounter Kumo shinobi, 70 kilometers northeast of the border between the land of frost and the land of hot water. A convoy moved steadily along, not too fast, but orderly and tightly packed. This was a transport unit belonging to Kumogakure, carrying essential supplies for the front line, shinobi tools, food, water, and medical equipment. The main personnel for transportation were mainly genin and regular people, but Kumogakure had also assigned 2 jonin for protection, accompanied by 5 chunin squads. Normally, this level of defense would be sufficient even in the land of frost, but the atmosphere within the convoy was tense, and few spoke along the way. Cowards, the lot of them. It's understandable for regular people, but shinobi cowering with kunai in hand? What kind of shinobi are they? One of the jonin from Kumogakure suddenly spoke up. He was from the land of lightning, with a fiery and straightforward personality. We haven't even reached the front line yet, and they're already this scared. If we were to face those Konoha bastards... Enough, Jujiro. His jonin companion nudged him lightly. Chakra gives us strength, but it shouldn't strip us of our sense of respect. Spare me the empty talk. Jujiro Ueda shrugged impatiently. This is a battlefield, not a place for sentimental musings. Without the courage to wield our blades, how can we expect to win this war for the land of lightning? With Raikage-sama leading us, victory is assured. Konoha is strong, but those days are behind us. His companion's eyes gleamed with a fervent light. Asama is invincible. Of course, Jujiro agreed with awe. Lions? Don't be ridiculous. Only cowards who harass our supply lines from the rear. His companion chuckled. If that lion dares to show up, we'll capture him and bring him back to the village. Raikage-sama loves rare and fierce beasts. Ha ha. The two laughed together without any restraint. and the others in the convoy, hearing their leader's laughter, straightened up, their nerves slowly relaxing from the grip of fear and worry. Jujiro and his companion had grown up together, sharing a deep understanding. What started as a mere conversation to relieve their frustrations evolved into loud, morale-boosting talk. Transporting supplies was also part of warfare, and if the convoy experienced a morale issue, delays could prove problematic. The reason for the low morale in the Land of Lightning's convoy was a cold, hard fact. Over the past few days, 5 transport routes through the Land of Frost had been cut off. The attackers were Konoha shinobi, striking ruthlessly and burning the supplies on site after eliminating the escorting shinobi. Their speed and search capabilities were exaggeratedly efficient, disappearing immediately after success, leaving Kumogakure without a trace. According to survivors, the attackers possessed the Byakugan, and a powerful jutsu likened to a lion's roar. In response, the leaders of Kumogakure quickly upgraded the convoy's protection to include 2 jonins. Rumor had it that top experts from Kumogakure had been dispatched, sworn to find the enemy causing chaos in the Land of Frost. The first direct confrontation between Kumogakure and Konoha was set to explode along the border of the Land of Hot Water and the Land of Frost, making the supplies irreplaceable. While the Land of Lightning also dispatched experts to cut off Konoha's supply lines, they faced the famous Minato Namikaze. Whenever something happened, Konoha's support arrived swiftly, rendering Kumogakure's surprise attacks almost entirely ineffective. In this back and forth, Kumogakure had suffered a minor setback. This convoy's supplies could not be compromised. Jujiro and his companion understood this, maintaining vigilance and boosting morale while pressing on quickly to reach the Land of Frost's border. Just as the 2 Kumogakure jonins' efforts seemed effective, a flock of birds suddenly took flight from the dense forest ahead. A massive roar, akin to a beast's howl, erupted explosively. "It's the lion! The lion!" "Damn it, we underestimated Konohagakure shinobi. Protect the supplies! His target is our food and shinobi tools. Prepare for impact. Defense team, ready." Voices rose in succession, a mix of fear and anger, but overall, Kumogakure's formation held steady, their morale intact. The Land of Lightning was truly a military power, its shinobi exhibiting high tactical skills. "Jujiro!" The 2 Kumogakure jonin moved forward with perfect coordination, lightning chakra flashing around their bodies, activating their muscles. The Land of Lightning wasn't known for defensive jutsu. Against powerful foes, they often opted for direct confrontation. "Roar!" The lion's roar sliced through the forest, and almost simultaneously, Yuto appeared in the Kumogakure shinobi's sight, his right hand wrapped in a dark bandage. "This kid, too fast!" The 2 Kumogakure jonin were startled, the lightning around them surged, but before they could act, the ground beneath them cracked with countless snake-like fissures. Lightning chakra adhered to their muscles and metal weapons, and they slashed at Yuto, charging towards them. "Lion's fang bite!" Yuto murmured internally, his speed increasing again, slipping past Jujiro's blade before it fell. He grabbed the long sword of Jujiro's companion with his bandaged hand, fingers clenching tightly. The cloth around his hand instantly hardened, protecting Yuto's hand, as the gale and high temperature of his chakra-imbued arm armor erupted, mixed with the Hyuga clan's famed gentle fist technique, detonating violently. The long sword, forged through countless hammer blows by master craftsmen, shattered instantly. The Kumogakure jonin flew back, crashing through numerous trees. Without the Land of Lightning's tradition of rigorous taijutsu training, his body would have been torn apart by this bite. Lion's Fang Bite was a powerful jutsu, ideal for frontal assaults against Kumogakure's muscle-bound shinobi. Defeating his enemy, Yuto chuckled lightly. "Send another convoy, will you?" He dashed to the largest cart, pulling out an explosive tag, and, with a quick motion, ripped open the cart's curtain, ready to attach the tag. But as he tore the curtain, A blade thrust out from inside. So fast, Yuto Hyuga thought, echoing the earlier sentiment of the Kumogakure Jonin. He leaned back, blocking with his right arm, the steel protecting him from the blade. He retreated, his arm throbbing with pain, nearly numb. A burly young man wearing sunglasses emerged from the cart. "A lone lion! A pretty pair of eyes! Oh ho, what a surprise!"